Hi, I'm Charles, and I love the teachings of Jesus, and I thought it would be useful to talk about the kingdom of heaven, and also to talk about how Jesus interpreted the kingdom of heaven and what Paul had to say on the subject, and see if you can spot the difference in style. It says that Jesus went about all Galilee, teaching in their synagogues and preaching the gospel of the kingdom. He says, "Do not think that I have come to do away with the law of Moses and the teachings of the prophets. I have not come to do away with them, but to make their teachings come true." To begin with, what's he talking about? The law of Moses is a contract between the Hebrews and God himself, where he promises, if you keep the law, you will have the land, you will prosper on the land, and you will have peace. And so this is the bargain that God has made with the Jewish nation. Okay, so, but he also adds he's come to fulfill the law of the prophets, or the prophets. And that's a somewhat different affair. And what he's talking about is the promises of the Jewish utopia. That is contained in some of the prophets. For instance, Isaiah 2nd chapter, verses 2 through 4. I've cut this down a little bit. In the latter days, Jehovah's house shall be established, and all nations shall flow unto it. And many people shall go and say, "Let us go up to the house of the God of Jacob, and he will teach us his ways. And they shall beat their swords into plowshares. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war any more." So this is one of the beautiful promises of the prophets, and this is what Jesus is talking about in his gospel of the kingdom. And this is why he begins his Sermon on the Mount with, "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven." So he's talking to a Jewish crowd. They know what the prophets mean, what the prophets have said. So he goes on with, "Blessed are they who mourn, since they will be comforted. Blessed are the meek, since they will inherit the earth." And that's another aspect of it. It's an earthly promise. It's the earth. It's life right here on this planet that they're talking about. And so he goes on in this fashion, and this is how he begins his sermon, these charming promises. And remember, he's talking to a mixed crowd. They're not all believers. They're not all followers. It's a mixed group. But now he's prepared them for the rest of the sermon. Now, Paul also is preaching about the kingdom. He says, "I have gone out among all of you, preaching the kingdom of God." So let's see if we can notice any difference between the two approaches. 1 Corinthians 6, 9, and 10. "Be not deceived, neither fornicators, nor idolaters, nor adulterers, nor the effeminate, nor abusers of themselves with mankind, nor thieves, nor the covetous, nor drunkards, nor revilers, nor extortioners shall inherit the kingdom of God." And remember, he's talking to believers here. He's talking to the good people. He goes on in Galatians, "Envyings, murderers, drunkenness, reveling, and such like. I tell you now, as I have told you in the past, that they which do such things shall not inherit the kingdom of God." He really makes it come alive, doesn't he? But there's more. "For this you know, that no whoremonger, nor unclean person, nor covetous man who is an idolater has any inheritance in the kingdom of Christ and of God. This all reminds me of an old saying, all things are clean to the clean, but to the defiled, all things are defiled. He goes on to give us a little information about the kingdom of God. Now this I say, brethren, that flesh and blood cannot inherit the kingdom. So the meek inheriting the earth is out the door. There's no point in bashing any swords into plowshares, because in heaven one has to assume there are no plowshares, there are no swords. It's a completely different concept. For Paul, it's pie in the sky. It's all everybody goes to heaven stuff. Completely in contrast to what Jesus was teaching. And this is why people love Jesus, and it's why I hate Paul. Anyway, thanks for watching.